What's going on, everyone? Welcome to the August edition of Monthly Check-In. Now, I know what you might be thinking initially. Why are you in front of this floral wallpaper, on the couch, all that stuff? You probably see me in this setting on the beat-making videos a couple times, but for much different reasons. Currently rehabbing from having my toenail removed, which was not fun. That's going to be a long time of trying to rehab and go through all that stuff. So I'm pretty much just grounded to the couch this weekend, trying to, get that healed up. And I've had some different health issues this year. Had to have an eyelid procedure done back in the spring, so that was not fun. It's been kind of an up and down year for health, which I've never really had before. So that's been kind of something I've been dealing with, but I wanted to kick off the video by letting you guys know about that, because I think it's important to always be able to address those issues, not feel guilty about, taking the time to rest and get better, which currently, as this is recorded, I'm already struggling with, because it's like the fourth straight day that I've been pretty much in the same spot. Haven't left the house, haven't done much of anything, doctor's orders. But I think it's important to be able to address that and let you guys know that, even though I talk a lot about cool stuff in all these videos and what I'm doing and what's coming up, I'm still going through stuff myself, just like you might be going through stuff as well. And just to know that, darkest before dawn, that's how I always look at it. Gonna figure out, how to get through this in the right way and in the healthy way. And it's been tough, I'm not gonna lie to you. I've never actually dealt with something like this, and you might hear that, and out there you might have broken bones before, you might have had intense surgery, so what I'm going through probably wouldn't mean that much to you. But this is actually something that is a little bit traumatizing for me, as I've never had to deal with anything like it. Like I said, I've had relatively good health my whole life, but it just seems like this year is just kind of kicking my ass a little bit. But I just want to offer that message up before we really get into the meat and potatoes of this video of, take care of your guys' health. Don't be afraid to take time off if you need it. If you got to take off work, I understand you got to pay bills and do things like that, but you got to prioritize what's really important at the end of the day. And I can safely say that when I come through this, I'm going to look back at now and say, I'm glad I took that time to myself to heal up and to get that rest. Alright, so now that that's out of the way, the main purpose of this video is to explain more about my upcoming album called Unknown Advantage that I'm about to drop in September, and let you guys know, what's gone into the process of doing that and how it's a little bit unique from what I've done in the past. So this video is going to be called Project Planning. But before we get into that, let's get into my August monthly picks, songs, and albums, people I've been listening to over the past month. First up, we have a track from Terrace Martin, who's one of my favorite producers, artists, instrumentalists, and it's called Solo, featuring Aaron Ray, amazing R&B singer, and Elena Penderhughes, a singer and instrumentalist as well. These three collaborated in 2019 on a song called Beige, which I was a big fan of back then. So when I saw that they kind of reunited for a new track, I was eager to check it out. This one is really a nice slow jam R&B joint. I love the instrumentation, I love the hook. And obviously Terrace always does great background vocals over the production, which he did that again using the talk box, things like that. And Elena comes in the second half with a great verse and adding her elements to the hook as well. Really cool track, and I'm looking forward to seeing what Terrace does. I think he's working on a new album, so this might be involved in the new project. But yeah, this is a great one, so definitely check that one out. Next up is a beat tape from one of my favorite producers out there, Jansport J. This one is called Still Got My Ways. He put this out in mid-July, actually toward the beginning of July, I believe. I forget how many tracks are on this thing. I think I took like 3 or 4 from my whole playlist, but I'm always a big fan of Jansport's production. Very soulful. If you're a fan of people like Ninth Wonder, Pete Rock, Jay Dilla, you'd love Jansport J's production if you're not familiar with him. He's worked with Hit Boy, Benny the Butcher, Nas, Coast Contra, a lot of other artists as well. I've always been a big fan of his beat tapes. I won't say that this one is one of my favorite beat tapes he's done, but I always want to recommend that people go check out his music. But there were a lot of summertime vibes on this one as well. So if you're looking for something before the summertime ends and you're a fan of hip hop and instrumentals and just beat tapes in general, go give this one a listen. My final choice this month is another album by one of my favorite MCs, Stalley. This one is called Peerless. He dropped a few different singles before this project dropped, like Awakened and Farming. There's also a track with Kevin Durant of all people on there, and Kevin Durant's verse is pretty cool on that track as well. But he put out this project. This was his first album since the end of 2022. I'd say this, after sitting with it for about a month, it's probably somewhere in the middle of his catalog. He has a lot of different projects though. To me, I'm always a huge fan of Lincoln Way Nights, and Blacklight with Apollo Brown was my favorite one that he's done. So it falls somewhere in the middle of the pack. But there's still a lot of great tracks to listen to on this one. And Stalley, I feel like at this point, because he's fully independent, he's been fully independent now for like 7 years. I feel like he's just comfortably in his sound and the direction he's trying to go at this point, which I think is super great. And you kind of know what to expect from his raps. If you've heard him before, it's exactly what you'd expect. And a lot of cool songs. I'd say my favorite song currently is These Days. So definitely check that one out. AP Skeleton, a few other songs that I took that I was really impressed with. I think it's 12 tracks total, probably like half an hour, so not too long. But yeah, definitely go check that one out. It's called Peerless by Stalley. So that leads us to the main point of this video, which is to talk about my project, Unknown Advantage, instrumental album, and just a little bit about, what's gone into the creation of this album as opposed to all the other projects I've done. So if you've been following me for the last 4 years, I put out a lot of different works, solo works that is, doing different EPs. I usually tried to do like 5 or 6 songs per project, not do things that were super long. And I wasn't ever putting out singles either. So with this project, I wanted to make it 10 tracks. I wanted to make it some of the best, most raw and emotional style of production that I've ever done and put it all in an album. So basically the title of Unknown Advantage, to me, it represents the unknown advantage that we have as creatives that kind of sets us apart as human beings. And I'm one to believe that every human being has some type of creative bone in their body. It just, not everybody uses them. There's a lot of people that will go their whole life, they'll never paint, they'll never make music, they'll never do anything creative or express themselves in that way. And that's fine. A lot of people just choose not to. But I believe, as humans, we have that ability, and that's what sets us apart from really anybody else or anything else out there. And I think it's just super cool, and it's really like what the human experience is all about. So making that title Unknown Advantage, I think that's really what that represents. And for me, I wanted to tell that story using only the music, because a lot of times, we go to albums and we're looking for the voice or the artist to paint that picture and tell that story. So the challenge for me was, how can I do that with just 10 instrumentals? Like, can I really take people to that place? And really, ideally, I wanted to make songs that they meant something to me, but if somebody else could hear them, they might think of something in their life, and have a bit of self-reflection on what that means to them as well. So I kind of tried to keep that in mind with like how I curated the track list and everything, and even the sequencing with the album, which I think is important. And I hope you guys, if you do listen to it, try to listen to it in order, at least at first. And I put out 2 singles so far. I'm going to put out another one at the end of the month. We got Horizon that dropped in June. More Than This just dropped a few weeks ago in July. And On the Path is going to be the last one, which is actually the outro to the project. I'm going to drop that one as well. That's kind of a little bit of background on the project itself and like the story behind it. Now I want to get into kind of the technical side and how I'm going to be presenting this to people, and how you guys can, consume the project as well. So over the last few years, obviously a lot of artists and producers and people that are trying to sell their music, they've been, talking about streaming, specifically Spotify, as, not very viable, doesn't really make a lot of revenue. They don't really get in what they put out, or put out what they get in, whatever, you get what I'm saying. So the challenge for me was, could I do more of a pay-to-play type scenario with releasing this project? And I wanted it to be this project specifically because it is my first real album. Like, it's my first real, I wouldn't say it's my first real offering because I've obviously put out projects, but I'd say it's my first real full story I've been able to tell with just myself and no one else involved. So I really wanted this to be like a special rollout and a special release. And I came across a platform called Even, which basically serves as that kind of platform where you can give people an early listen to the music. You set a price, you tell them, you can pay $5 or more, or whatever you want to pay to hear the music before anybody else does. So that's one way that Unknown Advantage is going to be available, is on Even, which I'll put the links in the description and all that stuff. Even has an app, which you can now get on, I think, the Android and the App Store. And all you need to do is set up an account with them, and you'll be good to go. You can add other artists in the library and things like that. It kind of just works like a normal streaming service. It is still in that beginning stage and beginning wave where it's not like a ton of people know about it, or it's super accessible for everybody and every artist. But I think what's cool is they also allow you to download the MP3s and listen to them offline. The way I'm approaching this, though, is if you get Unknown Advantage early, just that's really the cool part about it, is being able to hear it early. And then when it does come to streaming, by all means, go to streaming, add it to your playlist, do whatever you want to do from there. But I just think it's a cool way to be able to support the project before the general public gets to hear it. So that's really what I have in mind for that. Like I said, I'll try to explain that as much as I can in social media posts, and I kind of have a rollout created, and you'll see, by the time this video is out, some of that stuff will be out in the air, out in the open too. So you'll be able to see, what I mean and more about the platform too. And again, totally optional. If you want to wait till it comes to streaming, go right ahead. Your support means the world regardless. And the other thing I'm doing is a vinyl release, which is something that I've never tried before with any projects. I've had a few friends that have done vinyl, but I've never done this myself, and I'm excited to do it. Partnered with Diggers Factory, who is a huge vinyl creator. They create for different movie soundtracks, a lot of big artists, a lot of independent artists too. Basically what you do is you place your order, you pick up all your materials, you create your vinyl, you send them the files for the songs, you do like a side A and B. So for me, what I did is I did 5 tracks on side A and 5 on side B to make the full album. And I really like how the vinyl looks, the materials that were chosen, the colors of the vinyl and everything. I think it's super cool. And these are going to be retailing for $35. And that price point is based on the materials chosen. So just so you guys know, $35 is kind of in the middle to higher end range of price wise. I did my best, trying to get that price to where it could still be affordable for people. The way I view this one though is if you've known about my music for a while, if you've known me for years and you just want to support, this would be a cool thing to do. Or if you just like vinyl, I think it's a really cool thing to just collect vinyl, and I collect a lot of vinyl myself of my favorite artists as well. And I always try to, look out for the independent artists doing it too. But I think what's cool about Diggers Factory is, they're allowing me to do it in a way that is affordable for me, and just convenient for the customer too. So that way, if you order one, you're going to get it in a seamless process and the way it was intended. Which again, there's still a lot of things I don't know, because currently we're trying to collect the pre-orders, and you have until October 1st, by the way, to pre-order. So don't forget that. And the link will be in the bio for that as well. But I don't know when these things are going to get shipped out to people. We're trying to get that 100 threshold fulfilled, because this is a 100 pressing release. There's not going to be any more made after that. First 100 people that come and they get one, that's it. So that's kind of what, how I'm pushing it as well, is it's a limited release. So just keep that in mind. But yeah, that's just a couple ways that I'm looking at that are, different from what I've done, a little bit different from what I've seen a lot of independent artists do, especially producers. So I'm kind of going out on a limb and seeing, what works. I'm viewing this almost as a trial and error type situation. But it is a switch up from just saying, oh, my album's out, go stream it on Apple Music and Spotify, and that's it, and I'm not offering anything else. This is more of like, I want to have a little bit more of an experience behind this project because it means a lot to me. And I'll be putting out some different vlogs as well that I put together that are really unique and really cool. I'll be putting those out at a later time as well. And like I said, this project will be on streaming on September 27th. It'll be out everywhere, so you can enjoy it whenever and wherever you want. But these are just a couple options, you know, if you're looking to support this project, you're looking to support what I do. And no matter what, like I said earlier, very much appreciated. And thank you to anyone and everyone that has given my music a listen, repost, anything like that. I really do appreciate it. But yeah, just a couple options to consider if you're looking to kind of expand your no pun intended, horizons with your music and with your music brand as well. And I'll probably do a video down the line to kind of recap this experience when it's all said and done and let you guys know, you know, what I learned and, you know, what you guys could take in your own journey and do that. So yeah, that was a lot of rambling, but I think you guys got the point. I think that was kind of, you know, me covering most of the bases. Like I said, all these links will be in the description because all this stuff will be live by the time this video drops. So you'll be able to get the vinyl, you'll be able to pre-order that. Like I said, only 100 are being made. So you got to be one of the 100 to get it. So, you know, I wouldn't wait till October 1st. I would try to get it as soon as you can if you're going to. The even release will be available pretty much all throughout September, pretty much till the end of September. You'll be able to get that as well. So just, you know, check out the links for that. If you need to do more research on the even platform, by all means, go ahead and do that as well. But if not, like I said, coming to all platforms September 27th. So I guess we'll see you then. Yeah, so I hope you guys got a lot out of this video, and until next month, as always, thanks for tuning in. Take care of your health, like I said, and we'll see you next month. Take care.